one. So you should have in front of you Vous, Dirai-Je, Maman. I titled it that way because that's the fancy word of saying Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I don't actually know what that means, Vous, Dirai-Je, Maman. And I took French, so who knows? This is the ABC song. Again, we're always talking in guitar. The big problem we have in guitar is we want to go play Bohemian Rhapsody or Pink Floyd The Wall or Stairway to Heaven or all. That's what we want to play, right? So I have a student now who wants to play Dave Matthews Band. Yeah, no, you don't. You don't want to play any of that stuff. You want to make the guitar do the singing for you. If you're a singer, this is not probably your bag. All you need to know as a singer is to learn your basic chords, strum the heck out of it, sing like a nightingale, and hope that the record labels pay attention. They are not paying attention, by the way. The rest of us, terrible singers, we have to be able to get our God, I've been teaching ukulele all morning, our guitar to sing out and do all of the work for us. We want to take and study the paperwork, study the sheet music, and get good at what we're doing in that respect. It's what I say playing grown-up way. Hi, Monica. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you. Oh, goodness sake. Sorry, Monica. I was telling a story about you. Glad you're here. Yeah, we got G chords and C chords and D7 chords. And mother is I could tell you. That's what Vous, Dirai-Je, Maman means. Nice. Awesome. So I knew it was something to do with mother. That's all I knew. All right. So hopefully the sound is good. Obviously, you guys are hearing me make ridiculous comments, and so that's a good sign. We're mostly going to play at level 3. What I like to believe is you're okay with reading tablature. You're basically okay with reading your chord charts. Basically what we need to do at this level is really start taking the songs and really putting all of our tools together in one beautiful package. And so what I like to do still, the procedure is still the same as level 1 and level 2. We want to go through and play it in all of the different ways, find out what things are going to go well for us, find out what things we're going to struggle with, and then work on the things we're struggling with, and just be kind of cocky about the fact that we have some things that are going well for us. So level 3 is really the end of the instructional level of the program. After that, we're just playing great songs using the same toolbox. And if you can get through level 3 book and you're actually having beautiful music come out of your guitar, you're set for life, really. I mean, I consider myself maybe that level where I can really just sit down and play pretty well. I obviously have lots more to learn in terms of the detail work, in terms of reading classical music, and in terms of figuring out which foot pedal I want to hook to my electric guitar to make it sound super cool. I mean, all that stuff is still on my to-do list, but getting a really beautiful song out by playing through it, that's what I want. Now, what I'd like to do in this lesson, because you guys theoretically are at a little higher level than the other 2 classes that I taught today, I'd like for you to grab your guitar. I'd like to play duets with you, okay? How we do that, you play the melody and I'll play the chords. Then we'll do the opposite. I'll play whatever the opposite is. And then we'll just make sure that everything is going well for you in that regard. Don't be shy about asking questions in the chat box. I know it's hard to play and ask questions at the same time, but if you'll try to play along with me in at least at the duet stage, and then we'll work through the tough acts together, and then we'll talk a little about arpeggio picking. I consider arpeggio picking sort of the main idea, and so I'd really love for you guys to get plugged in on all of the different levels and all of the different tools, and let's make sure that this is going well for you. Welcome, Bob. So delighted you're here. I really, really, really am excited to see everybody's name. I know about a few of you, and some of you I've never met yet, but hopefully today will just be a chance for you to play a little bit. And then if I don't know you, go to that Denver Guitar Orchestra website, download stuff, steal everything off of there. My ultimate goal is that this stuff makes sense to you, and that if you, a grandson or a nephew or your sister or whatever decided they wanted to play guitar, you would have the tools readily available to get them started doing the same thing. And so that's why I put all that stuff out there for free. This is lesson number 6 of 6 today. So guys, bear with me. I'm getting a little bit tired. I think I might have pushed it a little bit further. I think my voice is starting to go. So just hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully the internet stream is going to be solid. Let's start. I'm going to play the melody. Okay. I'm going to try to play it nice and steady all the way through. We're going to just do one time through. And I would like for you either to play the melody with me. That might be beneficial. That way you're going to know if you're playing in good positioning. Or you grab the chords and strum along. Obviously, I can't hear you if you're doing well or doing horribly. And so it's all on you to figure that out. Let's run through the chords if you decide to play chords first. I put on here measure 1. I gave you the fancy G chord, and the way I finger that is regular G on top, but then I do a ring and a pinky on the bottom. That's what I like to call the fancy G. I think most of the professionals that I see playing, that's the G they tend to grab. Many of you, if you come from folk tradition, have learned the G chord with your middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. The benefit to that is then it's easy to get to your C chord. And so again, I don't tend to teach that because I figure you can get to C chord anyway, but a lot of you have learned to play it that way. Perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. And then of course, when you're strumming, plain old regular G chord is just fine as well. So whatever works for you G chord wise, that's just do it. C chord, that tends to be one that people fight in the beginning just a little bit. Index, middle, and ring, right? And what I like to say is your pinky finger should be hanging out, poised, ready to do some work, because we're going to be using that in fingerstyle. The other chord in this one's D7. Remember, don't hit your top string when you're playing any form of a D chord. That E sound is going to sound terrible. The other thing important is if you are on an electric guitar and you hit that, a really horrible sound is going to come out of your amplifier. So that's when you would reach your thumb up over and stop that from ringing. We never play with our thumb. We just use that to dampen this 6th string. You will find on YouTube lots of people telling you to put your thumb over the top. Don't listen to it. I think it's theoretically possible if you're playing a hard body electric to use that thumb, but I don't see any real legitimate reason for it. All right. I'm going to play the melody. You can play the chords. You can play the melody, whatever works for you. I'm going to go nice and slow, get you in playing position. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, oh, 3, 3. Oh, oh, 3. 1, 1. Oh, oh, 2, 2. Oh. 3, 3, 1, 1. Oh, oh, 2. 3, 3, 1, 1. 0, 0, 2. 0, 0, 3, 3. Oh, oh, 3. 1, 1. Oh, oh, 2, 2. Oh. Okay. Let's do it one more time. Hopefully that's going okay for you. That you'll know if you're playing melody, what you'll notice is if you're kind of got the big picture, index, middle, ring, that's the only things you did on that hand. Nothing really fancy going on here, which is ideal. We don't have any weird string crossings we had to deal with. I, as you know, I way overuse my thumb, and so I'm just playing with my thumb over here, and it makes a nice, beautiful sound on the guitar. I think that we underestimate how important that is. If you're a pick player and you're picking that out, that's fine. I tell everybody to throw their picks away because we're going to use these 4 fingers as picks. In fingerstyle, you really can't use a pick very often because you're going to be combining chords and melody, and it just doesn't work out. And so feel free to, I don't know, carry the pick around because it makes you feel cool, but you don't really need it. All right, let's play it one more time. Play melody, play chords, doesn't matter. Just do whatever you want to work on. If you're working on chords, remember, if you mess up a chord, you got to move on. You can't, we're not going to slot. I can't tell that you messed it up, so we have to keep moving forward. Get your chords on, get them ready. I'll be playing chords next. And if you're playing melody, your goal is to try to keep up with me. When you make a mistake, we all make mistakes. They don't exist. Just move on to the next thing, and let's keep going forward. Okay, I'm going to start on measure 1. We're going to play through it one more time. 1, 2, ready, play. Oh, oh, 3, 3, oh, oh, 3, 1, 1, oh, oh, 2, 2, 0, 3, 3, 1, 1, 0, 0, 2, 3, 3, 1, 1, 0, 0, 2, oh, oh, 3, 3, oh, oh, 3, 1, 1, oh, oh, 2, 2, oh. Let it ring. Shut it down. Beautiful. Nice little song. By the way, you're playing Mozart. You know that, right? Mozart's pretty legit. A lot of people know him. All right, let's switch sides. So if you were playing melody before, switch to chords. If you're playing chords before, switch to melody. Unfortunately, at this point, I have to sing, right? Which is never good for anybody. But I'm going to be working on getting my chords in place, okay, and singing. Okay, if you have been playing chords, play the melody. Otherwise, switch to chords. Okay, nice and slow, nice and steady. Try to get your fancy G chord on if you want. If you want to use a regular G chord, that's fine. If you wanted to use your folk music G chord, that probably makes a lot of sense because we're in the key of C and you're going to switch to that C chord. That's a nice, convenient shortcut for you. If you decided, hey, guitar's a thing that I'm going to be doing, I would love to go from this G to that C and back to that G. I just think that G is totally worth getting where you're good at both. Okay, from the top, 1, 2, ready, play. Oh, oh, 3, 3, oh, oh, 3, 1, 1, oh, oh, 2, 2, oh, 3, 3, 1, 1, oh, oh, 2, 3, 3, 1, 1, oh, oh, 2, oh, oh, 3, 3, oh, oh, 3, 1, 1, oh, oh, 2, 2, oh. Hold on to your last chord. Shut it down. Okay, so again, when we're playing together and you come into my studio or you get with a friend or whatever, I think you being able to play melody, and normally most guitarists can't, right? So they're going to play the chords. You're going to sound amazing together. Nobody has to sing. Everybody's happy. But in this case, since we're all stuck in our houses right now, just playing along with the melody one time, trying to keep it steady. You can use a metronome. I don't recommend it, but you can, right? Go through and use the melody line. Then go back through, play the chords, figure out where your challenges are. I know Monica's in here and she's been fighting the C chord quite a bit, gotten way, 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 way better at it. And so it's just one of those things where the things that you're fighting, it's not that you're never going to be able to do it. It's that we got to work on it a little bit. And so I think like just now I grabbed C chord and I notice my thumb jumps right up there, right? That's not ideal, right? If I get it back here, I'm going to be a lot more successful. All of us have our thing that we have to work on it at any given time. And you know, C chord's been a little bit of a booger for me my whole life. So be aware of that. Also, make sure that when you are fighting something with your left hand, it's a lot of times it's related to how you're holding the guitar. Holding this up correctly is important, right? If you're playing this way, you are absolutely going to make your life harder. It's so hard to get a C chord on without your thumb coming way up here. Or your wrist dropping way down there, all of that stuff. Just be mindful when you're trying to problem solve a problem that you are working on, what other things may be contributing to that problem. And I would say when I watch myself, I have this tendency for my wrist to go forward, and that's not what we want. We would like that to be just as soft and beautiful and straight up and down as possible. Want the guitar in good position, want this hand nice and sort of, you know, just easy position. Shoulders not coming way up like this. That's another thing that we have a tendency to do. So just be mindful of all those things when you're trying to diagnose your own challenges with playing. All right, so we've now played through, hopefully you got a chance to play through the melody and you've had a chance to check your chords. G, C, and D7 are coming up in your life as a guitarist. So I would say if you're fighting any one of those, just spend a little bit of time singing and strumming. If you're a terrible singer, do it anyway. Just make sure the door's closed so that you don't scare the cat. And I end up singing a lot because I teach and nobody wants to hear me sing, but you do, right? Because you need to figure out where you are in the song. Last thing to talk about on right hand, in terms of just strumming, you'll notice when I'm teaching, almost always it's just as simple, straightforward, right? Nothing fancy. Because all I'm doing is keeping the beat with this. Now you see people teaching on all over the place, telling you all sorts of crazy strum patterns and stuff to do. It's fun, interesting, a good thing to learn. But when you're actually a guitarist and you're an instrumentalist and you're trying to really tackle a song, you don't need to be fancy with the strum pattern. You just are trying to make sure that your pacing is steady, your simple strum pattern is good. And honestly, if you're a grown-up, that's a whole lot right there, right? That's beautiful. There's no way, there's not very many instruments that are going to do much more than that. And I'd say that that's absolutely just fine to make that your main strum pattern. All right, I want to go through the tough acts. We're going to go through every single moment through the entire song. It'll take us just a little bit. Those of you who are new to working with me or haven't been on the Denver Guitar Orchestra website, I call chord melody or fingerstyle. I just call it tough acts. I don't know. It fit in the space better, and I think it's funny. So you got to be tough to do it, and it's tough to do. So that's where I came up with that. We're going to go through every single moment of this. Notice as you're looking through it, you're going to be got great big chords on every single thing. You got two choices. All of my arrangements, I work them where you can play them just going with your thumb straight down. But you also have the choice of grabbing these four fingers and plucking, right? And sometimes there's more strings to be plucked than you have fingers. And in those cases, you usually drop off whatever the fifth one is and, you know, move your thumb up to wherever it is. So you usually drop out one of the lower strings to use the upper strings, okay? So I'm going to just do thumb my way all through this. We're going to go very slowly. We'll do every single chord. Sometimes you get a little bit lost on this. That's why we have free time at home these days, so you can work on it on your own. And then obviously you'll send me an email if you're fighting it, okay? So we're going to start always in fingerstyle, grabbing the chord. All right, here's my chord. Let's see how far that gets us. I'm grabbing the fancy G, and that's why I gave it to you as the chord chart up above, because it's going to get us through the whole first measure without doing anything other than holding this, okay? I hold this. First chord is 3, 2, 0, 0. That's 4 strings going down. If you haven't run into it before, this rest stroke is critical information. You're not going to play strings 2 or 1 in this arrangement. Thumb's going to come down. It's going to hang out on that second string like it's hanging out on a hammock. That way you can't accidentally have it go off. And your thumb actually stops and rests on there. Okay, and then we do the second note is the same thing. Do that again. Okay, next note is 3, 2, 0, 0, 3. So now I am going to hit the second string, but not the first string. Okay, and then again. Okay, measure 2. You got to slide over, get the C chord. Okay, this is again why we like to play slow. A lot of people, when they're working on guitar, play way too fast. You're going to have to get from this chord all the way over to this shape. And if you're playing too fast, you're going to take too long to make that chord switch. So give yourself permission to play slow. Got a nice C chord on at measure 2. We're going to play it twice. Don't play the 6th string, just the 5. Then we're going to switch back to that fancy G, making sure our ring finger lands on the 2nd string of the 3rd fret. Okay. Measure 3, you're going to grab your D7. In this case, I went ahead and arranged it with using the A string, the 5th string. Normally we don't hit the 5th string when we're playing D, but in this case I arranged it that way on purpose. It sounds nice. Okay, play that twice. Now we're going to go to a G chord, but you're only going to play 5 strings, so you're going to rest on this 1st string. Measure 4, we're going to grab that D7, and then we're going to play 3 strings. And then at the end of measure 4, I'm going to put that G chord back on, but I'm only playing 4 strings. Make sure you rest. Okay, beautiful. Measure 5, I'm going to make sure my ring finger's on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. I'm going to play it twice. I'm going to switch to D7. I'm going to play 4 strings. Go back to the G chord. Resting on the 1st string. Back to D7. Make sure you don't rush those half notes. Go back to a G chord. Go to your D7. Grab your G chord. Resting on the 1st string, and then go to the D7. Let that ring. Make sure you don't rush it again. Okay, then we go back to measure 9, which repeats the main idea. Grab your ring finger. Go grab a C chord. Okay, take your time to get it on right, and then play. Back to your G chord. Use the fancy one. Get your ring finger, 3rd fret, 2nd string. Measure 11, you're going to go over to your D7, play those 2. Go back to the G chord, don't play the 1st string. Grab a D7 one more last time. And then measure 12, last chord. Okay, now if it's me, I'm going to always add in something fancy on the end. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab a full G. Just like it says down in the arpeggio line, just go ahead and grab that full G chord. I think it just sounds prettier to have a nice ending on it. Okay, so let's go through and play it together. We typically don't play tough acts together, right? So do what you can. I'm going to play it as slow as I think I can play it and still have it be a song, okay? 1, 2, ready, play. C chord, G chord, D7, G chord, D7, and then a G chord. D7, G chord, and a D7, G chord, D7, G chord, and D7, G chord, go to a C chord, G chord, D7, and then a nice G to end. And go ahead and give yourself the fancy G and really wrap it up beautiful. Let your guitar ring. Don't let go of this until you stop at the guitar with this hand. Then you can let that go. Beautiful, right? Heck yeah! If you can play that, you got the full toolkit together, which is really nice. If you can't play that, you work on it, right? I think it's a beautiful song, and I think the arrangement actually works really quite pleasantly on guitar. So hopefully that's making some sense to you. Last thing, let's talk very briefly about the arpeggio patterns. On this song, I arranged everything on the first 4 strings because a lot of my students that come into Denver Guitar Orchestra, level 1 and level 2, we work on chords, melody, and then tough. And then in level 3, I like them to get started on arpeggio picking. And so what we're really doing with arpeggio picking is making ourselves sound super good without having to know anything extra other than how to do this. Okay. So when you're off guitar, the 2 things I like for you to do is, number 1, I like you to do this exercise where you take and pull these apart. That's going to help stretch out those tendons. Then I want you to do the Mr. Spock, right? Ow, the middle fingers. Then on this one, do this exercise where you're just getting, this one's actually the easy one. And then of course this one, right? So when you're not playing guitar, you're sitting watching TV, just be working on getting your tendons loosened up. I think that one's really helpful. The other one is just 1, 2, 3, 4, getting some control over these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. In guitar, we don't use the pinky unless you're playing ultra advanced contemporary classical music. They use the pinky, but for the most part, that pinky just hangs out down here. Some teachers will tell you not to touch the front of the guitar with it. I think it's fine. But you're really working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the big challenge with arpeggio picking is your initial way you grab the guitar. Thumb on the 4th string, and then down this way a little ways, your index finger, a little further down is your middle finger, and a little further down is your ring finger. Okay, so everybody's on that 4 strings. Thumb, index, middle, ring. Thumb, index, middle, ring. Thumb, index, middle, ring. Thumb, index, middle, ring. What we're working on there is holding the chord, just like we always do with all of the other songs you've ever worked on. You just grab your chords, and then we're going to do this nice, beautiful pattern. So instead of going twinkle, twinkle, you're going to be doing twinkle, 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 little star. Okay, I'm not doing a great job. Let me repeat that. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Okay, all I'm doing is thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring. And it's exactly what I wrote out on the arpeggio line. Again, you do not have to do it note for note exactly what's written there, but the idea behind it is something you want to get good at. So let's go through. We're going to play this song. I'll try to go slow, and your job is really just to get your chord on and try to pick out that 4-finger pattern twice in each measure. So it's going to be G, G, C, G, D7, G, D7, G, and so on. Okay. Again, this, when you first start it, is very complicated, and after you've been playing a while, it becomes very programmed where you don't have to think about it anymore. But in the beginning, we have a tendency for our fingers to be all over the place, right? You're just collapsing your knuckle. Not doing anything fancy other than collapsing my knuckles. And notice my hand is barely moving, my arm is barely moving. Just keeping it simple. All right, let's go through. Grab your chord. Fancy G to start off with. And then, did I arrange it? Yeah, pretty much. Just look at the chords, listen to me singing, and try to keep your pattern steady. Okay? 1, 2, ready, play. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I what you are. Up, above the world, so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. That's it. You've played everything on the paper. You've used every single fingerstyle tool available to you. And the only other thing possible to make this more complicated, to give you one more thing, would be to go through and do the tough acts just with your claw shape on your hand here instead of thumbing down. Either any way you do that is perfectly legal, and it'll make you sound different. And each time you go through, you want to sound a little bit different. I have nothing else to teach you on this. Questions over here in the box. Otherwise, if we don't hear anything from you guys, we'll wrap it up here. Hopefully that's helpful. We're going to be stuck in our houses quite a bit over the next few weeks, probably. And so let's make sure that we are, one, staying home, staying safe, and really pull out your guitar and play for half an hour and then put it away and come back and play it a half hour later on in the day. I think that it's a good instrument. It's really one that you probably never master, but you do end up having kind of, you can turn off 90 Day Fiancé or whatever you happen to be watching on television and do something that's actually valuable. So thanks, Monica. Thanks for all of you guys for being here. Michael, thank you. Spent all week trying to teach students. Yeah, no, I agree, Michael. This online thing is not the same as meeting people directly. So anyway, I don't want to talk to any of you guys directly right now because who knows who's got what anymore. So this is what we'll do for a while. I hope you guys have a great night. Check the Denver Guitar Orchestra website. I'll update the front page as soon as I know what the schedule is. Probably maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday. In any event, just check in there once in a while. And if you're not on the Guitar Orchestra website email address, put your email address in there, and then I'll be kicking out updates and reminders for you. And of course, send me an email if you want to talk about anything. I would love to hear from you. Have a great day, guys. I'm turning you off.